Good morning, guys. Welcome to Fishful Thinker. I'm Chad LaChance. We're in the middle of Nebraska. It looks like a cornfield right here behind us, but it's actually flooded. We're on Box Butte Reservoir. It's extremely high right now. Straight up flood conditions. Never been here before. Don't even have anything but a basic map of the lake and talk to one guy. We're gonna see what we can catch today. Could be largemouth, could be pike, could be walleyes. We're starting up here in the river in the flooded grass looking for largemouth and pike. So stay tuned, get comfortable. This ought to be fun.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Peterson Toyota and Toyota Trucks, moving forward. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth. Berkeley, catch more fish. Abu Garcia, for life. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors. And Colorado Parks and Wildlife.
Fish right here, got him. Well, guys, we started right there. We filmed our open right there. Never seen this lake, don't know anything about it. That's about my 10th cast. I got a bladed jig out, and that looks like a Florida strain largemouth. That's how we should start all of our shows, guys. I mean, literally, the camera looks right there is where we just did our deal. And he's not a giant, but what a absolutely beautiful fish that is, guys. And when you're dealing with vegetation like this, you know, we've got the heavy leader for pike and then the bladed jig right there. Great bait for dealing with vegetation. The channel that I'm sitting in right here is extremely well defined. It's very, very deep right under the boat, like 7 feet right under the boat, and dirt shallow all the way around it. That's a good place to start because what it does is give you a way to locate fish. Well, the channel should theoretically be the place that the bulk of the fish end up residing, and then they'll pull up on the flats around it to feed, potentially, if there's not enough food in the channel. But the whole key with it is that channel gives fish an escape route regardless of what this water does. And given that we know there's largemouth, we know there's pike, and we know very little else about this lake, we don't want to get too crazy. I'm going with fundamental stuff. Those bait fish you guys are looking at right there, you can see a couple of them in front of us. Those are called ruds. And that's supposedly what the pike in here will key on and eat. I have no idea, but we talked to one of the Nebraska Game and Parks guys in the parking lot, and he told us that that those ruds were the key food source in here. Now, I've never fished around ruds, so I can tell you from looking at them that they're kind of brown and orange, and they look like a cross between a carp and a goldfish. I don't know anything about their behaviors, but they are definitely spawning in here. You can see them doing that, and so, you know, we're as with every episode of Fishful Thinker, we're gonna see if we can figure it out as we go. But we really don't know what to expect. I can tell you that the wind is absolutely howling out on the main lake. Okay, well, we have encountered our first pike right here, and I think that explains why, guys, we had so many fish that bit and came off. That's a little pike. Now, we're told there's big ones in here. Obviously, that's not him just yet. But that one got all of my spinnerbait right there, and so we'll see how that transpires. But he got it. He was not messing around, that's for sure. And you can see the size of the spinnerbait. Get out of here, buddy. Sorry about that. The big old giant spinnerbait, guys. It's like a musky size. It weighs an ounce. It's a big spinnerbait. Why such a big spinnerbait? Well, there's tons and tons of bait fish in here. Bluegills and those ruds, and there's nothing smaller than about that. Well, that spinnerbait's about the right size. I think that's about my 3rd or 4th cast with that spinnerbait since I tied it on, and it's bit. So we'll see what happens. I've gone through 3 spinnerbaits now, getting them bigger each time. That's the first fish that stayed stuck. Another one right there. That's 2 in a row, guys. I think we found a school of pike. Oh, geez, right in this corner. Now, one thing that's really important about this corner that I want to point out, and it's another little guy. We're gonna have to mess around till we find some bigger ones, and he also has it right solid. So that's 2 fish and 2 casts. Get out of here, buddy. And that makes 4 casts, I think, with that spinnerbait, and been bit 2 of those 4. One thing we're figuring out is if we go any farther up the river, the water changes colors. Literally, we're sitting on the transition where it gets nice and clear from here on out. I purposely came back to here just for that reason, and bam, just like that, we're back on fish. But I got that one right there. Get out of there. Get out of there. He's out. That's funny, no bigger than that. And they get you down in that junk. Oh, buddy. That is fun, guys. That is fun stuff. I know that one of these is gonna be a big one. That ain't him.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Evinrude, spend more time on the water. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth.
With the wind blowing like this, I'm happy we can catch a ton of them up in here. And it's rolling like 4-footers out on the open part of the main lake, guys. And that will keep you honest in a hurry as an angler for sure. So to be able to run up in here and be able to encounter some fish right away has worked out just fine. If you wonder why there's fish in there, I don't know if you can see that on camera right there, but look at that school of bait right there, little tiny bait fish. Now that will draw all kinds of stuff, and those are who knows what, but holy smokes, that makes for a good thing, good place to fish. And anytime I'm working a spinnerbait like this, I'm gonna try to give little flutters on the rod tip, you know, a little pop on the rod tip, little stutter in the reel turn. There's one, got that one. Yeah, it's a big one there, or bigger. Anyway, come out of there. Come up here. There's a little bit better one, guys. Okay. Okay. There we go. Watch him come up and get it as well. And get up in here, buddy. That's a decent one there. Don't do that. I remember the first time I caught a pike. Wow, that went well. I'm a smooth dog, guys. Oh man, I have a feeling before today's over with, I am going to get my butt kicked. If this stuff I'm pulling off here doesn't look suspiciously like lawn clippings, I don't know what does. We are literally fishing in a farm field and with only a ditch running through it, and that's it. And that's what we're fishing in right now. And I gotta say, that's pretty cool. Now I am in a 21-foot, $60,000+ bass boat. And I'm fishing a farm field with it. Oh, buddy, I don't know what to say about this. This is not exactly, I knew water was high, guys, but I didn't know it was this high. And you know, typical, when we go to film somewhere, we purposely don't get any more information than anybody else can get. You know, I might occasionally call ahead the park manager or something like that and let him know, you know, or see what we can find out about conditions, things like that. But I don't, you know, do a lot of hunting around for information from people. One thing I don't ever read is fishing reports, because almost invariably those are so specific that it's not relevant. You know, a guy was there in the morning and whacked him. You go in the afternoon, you can't catch him at all. Those are two totally different fishing reports, you know, for the same lake on the same day. And so I don't take fishing reports too seriously as far as that goes. Now, overall conditions, on the other hand, I take very seriously. This one right here. I hadn't figured out if they're on the insides or the outsides yet, or if it really even matters. But I would think we'd catch one right here. And this style of pike fishing just isn't something we get to do a lot of in my home state. You know, pike are definitely public enemy #1, but here in Nebraska, they got nowhere to go. They're not hurting anything. And they've been in this lake, near as I can tell, for a very long time. From the little bit of research I've been able to find out, this lake's going through a little bit of a new lake syndrome at this point, where it was very low for a very long time. And then they you know, got some good moisture and filled it up. And that's all it took to make all of a sudden a good lake again, just like a lot of western reservoirs. The reservoirs in eastern Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, you know, Utah, they're all very cyclical. They get low for a little bit when we have drought periods, and then, you know, maybe the fish like the largemouth and stuff have a tougher time, whereas things like white bass, the fish that are more pelagic, do better. And then, you know, they'll get moisture out of the blue, and a couple of years of high water, it refloods everything that grew up when it was low. And just like that, you've got a killer fishery again. So this lake's going through that right now. That's why we're here. I've been wanting to come here for years, but I've been waiting for it to get what I consider to be a good condition for us, and this is it. Do a little flutter move, little stalls. Boom, just like that, I popped the rod tip and he choked it. I don't care if it's a giant. Oh, no, and he pulled out. Aye. That's okay, it was not a giant pike, but the fact that it right on cue, right on this corner right here, bait hit the water, I just got it straightened down, then popped the rod tip one time. I'm hoping that showed up on film and boop, he popped it. That's awesome. But that's the whole thing, just triggering them. They're you know, top level predators. It's the whole trigger thing.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors. Peterson Toyota and Toyota Trucks, moving forward. And Colorado Parks and Wildlife.
It's funny because this beetle spin arm has helped me a lot of times when the fish just won't do the spinnerbait anymore. And that happens a lot. They just flat won't do it. It's a real distinct profile, whatever. But you can come back with the beetle spin arm and the jerk shad on it, and it's a much more realistic profile. You can work it a bunch faster. It doesn't put off as much resistance in the water. You can work it a bunch faster. It's a real profile, which I like, a more realistic profile. And then on top of that, it's covered in, you know, it's made out of gulp. So if one of them bumps it, like you just saw a minute ago, he bumped it, I threw it right back, he ate it because the taste he got was good. He just knows it got away. So it's worked great for me for all kinds of fish. Redfish is a key one for me. It works great around the salt flats. Snook love it. A lot of times walleyes will bite it when they won't bite, you know, a traditional spinnerbait because of the profile. They'll bite this thing pretty good. But the edges have been the key. And that's really no shocker, whether you're a hunter or fisherman or anything else. Edges are always good. Anytime when I'm fishing, I can find defined edges, hard drop-offs, hard grass lines like this, the ditches on both sides, any kind of hard defined edge, a major bottom content, you know, riprap to concrete, stuff like that. Any hard edge like that is always a good place to fish for, you know, just depending on the overall situation. And this is a classic hard edge situation where the fish are coming out off of the bank and grab the bait as it comes by. We have not caught one on this corner yet. We got one to bite on the outside corner. That's what actually we did, didn't we? There's one right there. You gotta find the right one to bite. That's all there is to it. Oh, and he looks suspiciously like the other ones. We have caught a jillion of these little guys today. Fish right here. Oh, boom, there he goes. I saw that one come out and get it. Fish, oh, he missed it. There he is, got him. Oh, I got him that time. Oh, get out of there. He came out of there trying to get it and he missed it and I nursed him. I fluttered the blades on the spinnerbait and got him. That's a cute little one. Come on, buddy, come on up here. Look at this little tyke. Got us another pike, guys. Now it's kind of funny. We have caught a jillion of these guys today. Come here, fish. Easy, buddy. Easy, buddy. And you see him, he comes straight up underneath the boat right here. That is good fun. I don't care if he's little or not. And you notice no steel leader. It's more important that I make accurate casts. In my experience, you'll lose very, very few on spinnerbaits with no steel leader. So this is just straight up 17-pound trillium 100% fluorocarbon. And it's caught me lots of pike over the years without any problems. And then I've got big, heavy Trilene Prospect fluorocarbon leaders in both 40 and 60 pound on a bunch of the rods that don't have wire on them. But a spinnerbait or a buzzbait, very few of them actually are gonna get enough of it in their mouth to get around all that wire that's on there. Okay, I need to slow the hook set down. I changed my bait up. I keep changing my rigs up. This is a lot of vegetation to be fishing. And it's a little more than I generally get a chance to fish. And so my bait selection wasn't immediately perfect, rod stuff, but now I've got it dialed a little more to my liking, and we have produced yet another one on my 6-inch gulp jerk shad on the beetle spin. Another little tyke though. Man, there's a lot of these in here. Look at that thing. Little northern pike, such a cool little predator. There's my bait, guys. 60-pound Trilene Prospect. 100% fluorocarbon, big old jig head on there. It's a beetle spin arm with a big custom willow blade on there, and then a 6-inch gulp jerk shad. I've got it on a 7.4 heavy fast. So a big stiff St. Croix Legend Extreme and a Revo SX casting reel. And it has worked, that's for sure.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
What was that? Okay, I don't know what that was, guys, but we're hoping it'll bite. Got him! That's why you throw it big boils. I guess it'll bite. There's a good size one there. He's still not that big, but that was pretty cool one way or the other. Holy smokes. Yikes, that's why you wear glasses, guys. That thing just caught me on the corner of the glasses coming by right there. That's why you wear your glasses, but it's also why you throw it boils like that pike. Pike fishing is dangerous. We just figured that out. Yikes. Got him, there we go. It's a pretty good spot to fish. Oh, there's a nice largemouth. Oh man, here we go, dude. The bites turn on. It's the classic example of never leaving fish to find fish, guys. We left fish, we went, looked all over the lake. We didn't find any other fish. We came back here, we're back in fish. If you only got a few hours to go fishing like we do, maybe 4 or 5 hours on an average day, don't leave them. Pretty little guy there. Haven't caught a ton of those today. Okay. That was awesome to see a boil go off like that and then throw back to it. You know, one thing you know, when you make a throw to a boil like that, a fish that just rolled on something, you know that fish is looking to eat. And he maybe even just ate something, but if you know he's looking to eat, and so it puts you in the hunt. Notice, you may have seen on film, I don't know if it shows up, I didn't throw right on the boil, I threw outside of the weed line because that's where they've all been that's where they've all been biting. So I didn't throw it right on him. There's one right there, that one got it right when it hit the water. See if I can keep the boat out of the jungle here. What did I catch this time? Another largemouth. Now these guys are coming on strong here in the evening light. Another little chunky largemouth. Late afternoon light. There you go, guys. And this one's played before. Somebody else caught and released him. Right there. We'll do the same. See you, buddy. That's right. That's why you don't leave fish, people. Drilled that into my head. Don't ever let me leave fish again. All right, there's another one. Oh, a nice largemouth this time on the beetle spin. I told you guys it was a multi-species deal, and then we just stuck a largemouth as we're coming in here. We'll see about getting him over here. Decent fish too. Come here, buddy. We haven't seen a whole lot of these today. We've seen a few, and hey. There we go. There's a decent one there, guys. And there's my beetle spin with a 5-inch jerk shad. A little bit different than your average spinnerbait, which we caught no largemouth on. But yeah, that's a real nice one, guys. We'll take that one in the evening sun. Finally, we worked for that fish, guys. Now guys, is that not the most beautiful piece of fresh Baja tuna fish you have ever seen? A good friend of ours here at Fishful Thinker brought us that back from Baja, Mexico. It's a big chunk of fresh tuna fish, and we are fixing to do it up right. What we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna stick it in the Camp Chef Artisan Pizza Oven. Does that look like pizza? Absolutely not, but pizza likes high heat. Tuna fish likes high heat. Anyone that likes tuna fish knows you need to have it rare to medium rare at the most. I'm gonna strive for that, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it in here and it's gonna cook in like 1 to 2 minutes, and I am not exaggerating. We're gonna put it in a cast iron skillet, which has been in there preheating. We're gonna stick it in here and it's gonna go really fast, guys. The only seasoning I put on it, I just rinsed it, patted it dry, and coated it with mango chipotle rub. And I did that about 2 hours ago, and it's been sitting uncovered in the fridge, and it's got a little bit of a pellicle formed on it. This stuff is really good. It's got a little bit of smoky flavor to it, a little bit of mango flavor to it. It's really good stuff. Now I've got this cast iron skillet, and it's been inside this oven right here getting hot for a while. I'm gonna stick it in there and make sure it's full on up to temperature. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil to it, and also a little bit of butter. And as soon as this comes up to full temperature right here and gets all melted down, I'm gonna very carefully set this piece of tuna fish right smack dab in the middle of it. Like that, just get a little coat, and I'm gonna flip it over and set it like that, and we're gonna stick it in this oven right here. My plan is to flip it one time. Yep, we might need to, there we go. Oh guys, look how beautiful that looks. Back in there. All right guys, we believe it's done at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it out, get a hold of this pan and bring it out, and we'll set it right over here. And that is screaming hot, especially considering it has not been exposed to any direct heat. It's only been in the oven there. And we're gonna go ahead and give this a quick slice and see how it looks. Oh, that is what I am talking about, guys, right there. We want that to look just like that. It is totally rare in the middle and cooked all the way around the outside to a nice crust. And that is what fresh Baja tuna fish can look like if it's done real carefully. So let me stack this up and we'll put it on this plate and hit it with just a little bit of lemon juice. I gotta taste this, guys. That is unbelievably delicious. 3 ingredients. Chipotle rub, butter, olive oil, well, 4 ingredients, tuna fish. Thank you, Mr. Jones, for the fantastic piece of fresh tuna fish. If you're interested in the Camp Chef stuff, you can get it at Sportsman's Warehouse. You can, of course, go to the Camp Chef's website and check it out there, get details. Whether it be the artisan pizza oven, the Pro 90X stove, the cast iron skillet, the Chipotle mango rub, whatever. You can get all the information online. Join the conversation on the various social media. We're at Fishful Thinker across the board. We'd appreciate that very much. And most importantly, we hope you'll tune in and see what we're up to next week. Thanks for watching.
Time now for today's best catch, brought to you by Berkeley.
All right, there's another one. Oh, a nice largemouth this time on the beetle spin. There we go. There's a decent one there, guys. And there's my beetle spin with a 5-inch jerk shad. A little bit different than your average spinnerbait, which we caught no largemouth on.
Berkeley, catch more fish.
Got him. There we go. Oh, no. He got me in there. Oh. That one looks, there's one right there. Ay, ay, ay. Careful. Oh, dude. Why don't you cut for a second? Cut. Oh, man. You can cut it. All right, you can cut. Okay, cut for a minute. You can cut for a minute. All right, time out. Cut. Okay, cut. All right, you can cut for a minute. All right, cut.